Studies show that only about 0.1% of track athletes are able to obtain a sub 50-second PR in the 400 meters. Recently, I've been averaging 47 seconds as a high school athlete transitioning into the collegiate level, and if I had to restart, here's exactly what I'd do. Alright, enough of all that intense stuff. You're here because you want to learn how to run sub 50 in the 400, and that's what I'm here for. Now, just an FYI, this is not gonna happen overnight. I know. But it does take a lot of effort and time to achieve a sub 50 in the 400. So if you're willing to put in that time and grind behind the scenes, then you will achieve that sub 50. Now, when it comes to the 400, pacing is everything. You can't just go out there and run it like it's an open 100 and sprint the whole thing, or else you're just gonna die at the end. You can't go out way too slow in the 400 either, or else by the time it's time for you to go at the last 100, 200 meters, you're gonna be so far back and there's gonna be no PR for you. Now, there's a lot of strategies to running the 4, which I know a lot of people will probably mention in the comments or have their personal thoughts on, but this is just a general 400 meter race strategy that I'm giving you guys in order to be able to hit that sub 50. Okay, so first, from 0 to 50 meters, you should be getting out aggressive and pretty hard, like as anyone should in the 400. But after that point, you're kind of just maintaining / floating in a sense, because once people start getting to sprinting that whole first 200, that's just how they die out. And a good example of that is when I ran my PR of 47.1. I went out way too fast on the first 200, and now I wasn't dead sprinting, but I was just still going out way harder than I needed to. And you can especially tell that it came back to bite me at the end because I was just dying, and the only thing that was saving me was holding my form and keeping it throughout the entire last 200. A different example here is another race I had in the 400 where I went 47.3. And this time I went out way too slow on the first 200 because I was trying to pace off the other people in my race, which had PRs of mid 47s, low 47s, but I guess they just didn't perform at their best that day, coming in with like mid to high 48s. And this taught me to always just run your own race and have your strategy planned out before running. Because if you come in and try and pace off the other people, you're either going to go out way too fast or go out way too slow. And you're going to have races like this where it's going to make you mad afterward, because then you're like, dang, I could have went faster, but we can always fix that. And that's definitely how I felt after this one, because I could have broke 47 easily, went 46 if I had just followed through with my own strategy, went out even just slightly faster, because I had so much more energy at the end. But anyways, once you get to the 200 meter mark, that's when you start building your speed back up, and that's when you just start driving your arms, having your knees high, making sure you're straight up, looking forward, no looking around, looking down, or anything like that. Just good form and posture is what's really going to help you throughout this race, because no matter how much you're dying at the end, if you have good form, then you will hold up good. All right, I think we've talked enough about how to actually run the race, but of course with that, you actually need to train behind the scenes to even be able to have the athletic ability to run that race well in the first place. So I have a list here of things that I did throughout this recent off season and previous seasons before to be able to run the 400 as I do now. And I did a lot of this stuff before running sub 50, and eventually I just had that big drop in time. So of course, being a 400 meter runner, there's still sprinting and speed required in it. So you're going to want to have speed days, which can consist of 4 times 30 meters. Maybe you're using blocks or doing standing starts. You got to make sure you work on that block start, because that's going to matter a lot too. And the better you get that, the more seconds, milliseconds you can shave off of your time. You can also do 40 meter flies where you're just building up 20 meters and flying the next 20. And then a lot of the other stuff I did consisted of wall drills, sled pulls, and wickets. And by wall drills, you can always do stuff where you have your hands against the wall and you're doing like high knees, or you're kind of switching off between your legs and just holding one leg up and then switching the other one. And I also did a lot of bounding too. And this could just be on a flat surface on the track, or maybe even on the turf if you need something better on your legs. And or it could even be on a hill too, which is probably one of the best options too. And tying into that, I did a lot of hill work too, which helped with my knee drive a lot, and it just really helped with the speed endurance as a whole, because hills are tiring depending on how far you're going. But just if you can find any like pretty steep hill to start running on and doing your plyos and stuff there, that's perfect. You just start doing that. With that, plyo wise, I did a lot of box jumps, pogos, hurdle hops, and depth jumps whenever I was in the gym or on the track. Either way it works. Of course, you have to have the longer workouts, which are pretty brutal, but they will get you to that point. So just hurt through it then, and it will feel so rewarding at the end. Here's one that I did consistently throughout the preseason: 3 by 300 meters at 400 pace. Do that one will get you right. I did that a lot throughout the preseason, and I feel like that helped a lot. Other runs I would do is like the 500 meter. It kind of helps you with that last bit of the 400 there, because then, you know, once you get into the actual race, you're like, this 400 is easy now compared to when I've been running those 500s. As a 400 meter runner, you need the speed, but you also need the endurance. So you can maybe go on a 20 to 30 minute run one day, and just have something. It'll feel a bit easier, and you know, it's kind of like, why am I doing this? But trust me, that endurance will help you in the 4, because it's not only speed, but you need to be able to maintain and hold that speed throughout the race. And of course, we can't neglect any of the lifts either, because you also need those for power and strength in your legs. So some stuff I did here were squats, both front and back. Front and back squats are great for you. And then I did a lot of deadlifts and RDLs. I also did some split squats, calf raises, did a bunch of hang cleans, and with that, a bunch of power cleans also. Hip thrusts were another favorite. I did those a lot. I did a lot of jump squats, either that or I would just use the trap bar and jump with that also. I made sure to do a lot of hip mobility also, aside from just all the lifting, just hip mobility, stretching, and foam rolling, because this also ties into recovery, which is probably even more important, if not as important as the training that you're doing, because without your recovery, you're just not gonna run to the best of your ability. And you need to be feeling good, because you don't want to get injured. You don't want to just feel fatigued all the time when you're running, and recovery helps you stay at your very best. So you're gonna have to do a lot of things like sleeping, getting like 8 to 9 hours of sleep, get your nutrition right, get a good diet going on, get your good protein and carbs in so you have energy. And then you'll need to do a lot of foam rolling, stretching, and make sure you have recovery days, because this is a key tip right here. There's people out there, of course, in a perfect world, we could just work and work and work and work for hours and hours and hours every single day on the track just to get better. And it's something, me personally, I definitely do, and I'd love to do. But in this world that we live in, injury happens a lot because of that type of stuff, because you don't want to overwork your body at all. Like, that will just give you injury for years, and you're just not going to be able to ever reach that sub 50 if you're just overworking yourself. And it's a key thing is just to keep a smooth routine going on. Like, for example, in the off season, what I used to do is I used to do 3 to 4 days of harder workouts where I'm doing, like I said, those 3 by 300s and those flies and plyos. and mainly all that speed stuff. And then when I had the off days in between, I would be doing just easy jogs, and sometimes I get my lifts in there, and then I'd always keep a day in there where I'm just recovering, doing maybe biking or just walking at the most, or maybe even nothing that day. But yeah, you just really want to make sure that you're not just stacking and stacking and stacking workouts, or else you're just gonna wear and tear down your body. Anyways, I hope this video helps you guys, and I wish you the best of luck in your journey to sub 50 400 meter. Make sure to like and subscribe, and if you haven't watched my last video on how I got 149 in the 800, be sure to go watch that. And I thank you guys for all the support you've been giving me, and peace out.